What's up, guys? Before we start this episode, I just wanted to say I didn't expect the series to hit a roadblock like it did. I just got caught up in other series on the channel. Furthermore, I'd like to welcome everyone to the second part of my Console Wars series. The early 2000s saw a big shift in the gaming community. Nintendo and Sony continued to battle it out with the GameCube and PlayStation 2. We would see the rise of a new console, Microsoft's Xbox. These three consoles would shift the tides between the gaming community. Starting off, we have the PlayStation 2, Sony's next home console. The PlayStation blew gamers away in the 90s and brought in tons of fans with the original console. Sony was even able to dethrone Sega from their title as major competition. By 1997, the press was reported on the development of a new PlayStation, with backwards compatibility for the PlayStation, a built-in DVD player, and internet connectivity. However, at the time, Sony denied the development of a new console. Finally, in March of 1999, Sony announced the PlayStation 2, which blew fans away. In 2000, the PlayStation was officially released. Sony pulled $250 million on the first day. For a while, it was difficult to find a PS2 in retail stores due to its popularity and manufacturing delays. However, Sony managed to resolve these issues before it became too major. The success of the PlayStation 2 led Sega into a financial crisis and was unable to make a comeback against Sony. In 2001, Sega was forced to discontinue the Dreamcast, thus ending the reign of Sega, leaving the PS2 the only 6th-gen console on the market for some time. Sony innovated with the PlayStation 2, designing an entire slim version of the console, which launched in 2004. The slim console perfected issues with the PlayStation 2 original model, as the PS2 was noted to have some issues from overheating to hard drive issues. The PS2 Slim improved the cooling system to prevent overheating. The Slim wasn't the only cool and unique design Sony had worked on. The PlayStation 2 had several limited editions with color variants such as Snow White, Super Red, Light Yellow, and Astral Blue. Sony tried their hand at a DVR system, the PSX, which was a PlayStation 2 DVD and DVR player all in one, which only released in Japan. Sadly, the PSX did poorly due to the expensive price. The PlayStation 2 had a huge list of game titles such as the Grand Theft Auto series, which greatly gained popularity with the release of GTA 3, which changed the series into the way we play GTA to this day. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is still the highest gross game for the PS2. Other amazing titles would come to join the roster of the PS2. One of the coolest licenses for video games around at this time was movie-based video games, which revolutionized the PlayStation 2. Another cool addition to PS2 games was adding memory card for the PS2 in certain games due to the game's large size. Moving on to the Nintendo GameCube. In 1998, Nintendo partnered with ARTX, a graphics hardware designing company, for Nintendo's 6th-gen console, codenames N2000, StarCube, and Nintendo Advance. In 1999, Nintendo announced Project Dolphin, the successor to the Nintendo 64. Nintendo teamed up with IBM to design the GameCube CPU and Panasonic to design the hard drive. Nintendo had even developed a prototype for motion controls of the console. However, this was scrapped due to review from America's VP of Development. The GameCube was the first Nintendo console to use discs instead of game cartridges we were used to. The GameCube included 2 memory card ports, with storage sizes ranging from 512 KB, 2 MB, and 8 MB. Nintendo shifted the controller design similar to the PlayStation controller after the backlash from the N64 controller. The game included 4 controller ports for 4-player multiplayer, like the N64, with several games being released during the lifecycle of the GameCube, allowing local 4-player. The GameCube showcased 15 launch titles and was the first console since the Famicom to not include a Mario launch title. The GameCube was finally released in 2001 and scrambled to compete with the PlayStation 2, which had several months on the market. GameCube went on to release several amazing titles such as Mario Kart Double Dash, Super Mario Sunshine, and standalone Luigi's Mansion. Nintendo didn't put heavy focus on online games, however there were 8 games in total that supported online connectivity, 5 with internet support, and 3 with LAN support. Continuing on to the Xbox, Microsoft had found success in PCs and developing games for PC. Bill Gates, CEO of Microsoft, saw the upcoming PS2 as a major threat to the company's line of Windows PCs. Gates decided Microsoft would move on into the video game industry and compete with Sony. Gates approached Sony before the public announcement of the PlayStation 2 and wanted to design programming software for the console. Microsoft would go on to attempt to acquire Nintendo, but the offer was declined. Gates revealed the Xbox publicly at CES 2001 alongside pro wrestler Dwayne Johnson. Release dates and prices were revealed at E3 2001 with launch titles such as Halo and Dead or Alive 3 revealed. The Xbox was released in 2001. Gates personally attempted an event selling the first 1000 systems at Toys R Us in Times Square. The Xbox was the first console to feature a built-in hard drive disc, which eliminated the need for memory cards. The original Xbox controller, now mainly known as the Duke, was a bulky controller which led to much criticism compared to the other consoles' controllers at the time. It was awarded the title Blunder of the Year by Game Informer 2001. It later won the biggest controller award in Guinness World Records in 2008. The Controller S was a smaller controller released originally only in Japan, which would later replace the Duke in retail stores alongside the Xbox. Some consoles of the Xbox where most games played either in 480 or 480i quality. The Xbox was capable of 720, however, you would have to purchase a separate accessory to do so. A lot of games were dull-colored compared to the PS2 and GameCube. Another con, yet pro, of the console was that it was easily modded. Gamers could easily take apart the console and add their own custom modifications to the console. And that concludes the second episode of Console Wars. The PlayStation 2 had a great lead with it being released long before the GameCube and Xbox. The GameCube brought back Nintendo fans and remained the more family-friendly console of the time. Xbox brought its own fans, innovating with Halo and Xbox Gold Live services.